Welcome to Dragon Claw. For our inaugural video, I have a double header loaded up for you. This is the Kershaw Blur. We will cover some technical aspects for this video to start us off, and then we'll get into some of the less technical aspects and some opinions I have of this pocket knife. This is not a new Kershaw by any stretch of the imagination. It's been around for about a decade, I'd say about 10 years. It's a Ken Onion design, who is also the creator of the SpeedSafe technology behind Kershaw's assisted open knives. Overall, the knife has a closed length of 4.5 inches. The blade, if we open it up, is roughly less than 3.5 inches in length, and total overall length is just under 8 inches, a little over 7 3/4, almost 8 inches. The weight can vary by model. The two I have here, we'll say, are about 4.25 ounces each. Give or take a few 100ths of an ounce. For the rounding up of technical specs, the frame itself is aluminum. Technically, it's a 6061 T6 anodized aluminum. The blade is a 14C28N stainless steel, and there is a story to go along with that. I'll tell it here in a little bit. Overall, this is one of my, if not my most favorite EDC pocket knife. It is my most carried. I can't say which I carry more between these two. I like to think I carry them probably equally, but definitely this model over any other I have in my pocket more often than any other model. The frame, let's start off there. The frame itself, of course, you have your pivot joint. You've got screws to take it apart if needed, which is always handy. Lanyard hole, which is pretty standard nowadays, has been for quite some time. The most notable aspect of the frame is the TrackTech grip tape inserts. Think of it like it's rhino lining for your knife. I would say the only drawback to that is when it's in your pocket. Every time you reach your hand down in your pocket, it'll grate your hand every time. Not a big deal. Definitely still worth all the other conveniences and positives that go along with the Kershaw Blur. The pocket clip, it has two stances it can have. It can, as you can see, the holes down here, as well as where it's placed right now. That creates an either tip down or tip up configuration. This right now is tip down, but it could be tip up. My only comment about the pocket clip is it's a little lower than I like. I usually like it flush with the edge. Not only are the screws offset a little bit, but then you actually have a little bit more offset before it pans out to fit in your pocket. So a little bit more pronounced. I don't worry so much about it showing as I do more functionality wise. It's always a little bit more functional for myself to have a flush mounted pocket knife or pocket clip. If it's more showing, then it's more apt to get caught on things. So that would be my only comment about the pocket clip. There is a bit of jimping, if you're familiar with jimping on the spine. There's some more here I'll show you in a second. Basically for your thumb. So if we spread it out, you can see that jimping is just to make sure that your thumb stays where it needs to stay. There's additional jimping in the frame lock, as you can see here. And purpose there is a sure grip when you go to unlock it. And I can say that I have many knives without the jimping in the frame lock, and that is a very nice feature of this knife. Blur, if you've never heard of it, never seen it, the name comes from the fact that the blade is a blur when it extends from the frame. That's how fast it goes. And it's pretty accurate. It is a blur on the way out. The frame on this one is olive drab, or OD for short. The one here, my other blur, is actually a black 440A tungsten DLC. DLC stands for diamond light carbon, and that's the coating on the frame for this all black one. To start it off with the blade, if you notice the thumb studs, there are actually two of them. And if you notice, not your typical thumb studs. There's a bit of a shape to them, and purpose there is twofold. One is for 2 fingers extensions if you don't have enough power in your thumb, which in the case of my dad, he has a little bit of an issue with his pocket knives, but he was using my blur the other day and found it extremely easy. 2-fingered technique on thumb studs. More importantly, in my opinion, is it's the fact that it makes it ambidextrous. So this can be used for a left-hander just as easy as a right-hander. And with me being left-handed, you can see how quick and easy it is to flip it out with your other hand. So, 2-part thumb stud, excellent feature. Edge, you'll notice that on both of these, I have 2 different edges. I should say 2 technically different fronts. Most people consider this to be the edge and here to be the front. So edge to front. You'll notice it's straight, razor sharp across the board. My other one is a sharp edge with a serrated front. And let's see if we can show you a better take on that. And flip side. And there we go. Personal opinion, I like the serrated, the dual use of both sharp edge and serrated for general use. I like better than just straight, but don't get me wrong, if there was no serrated edge and that was my only option, I still would be carrying just this. Some minor things, nothing to be concerned about. No coil, there is no flipper. If you notice here, no flipper. You are limited to only thumb studs, but not a big deal, as I've shown time and time again. This thing is very easy to extend, extremely easy. Another note is it looks like a drop point knife, but technically it's not, and it's very, very subtle. And I've even heard people call this drop point, but technically it's a recurve. If you notice, yes, it does drop. There's no doubt. But if you go from tip back, you'll notice that there's a slight dip here. Right in there, there's a slight dip. It's very hard to see, but there is a dip, which technically makes it recurve. But tit for tat, you want to call it drop point, fine. Recurve, fine. It's an awesome knife. There's just no doubt about it. And some other things to point out when it comes to the frame and blade. For starters, the blade comes in either the drop / recurve or tanto, which is another version of the Blur that I would like to see. I would like to get my hands on. The Tonto, I think I would say most typically comes with a different finish than you see typically. It is a tiger stripe finish. So I mentioned drop slash recurve. Oops, sorry, I got a scene there. Drop slash recurve and Tonto are the two types of blades. Finish, this is actually the black, but there's also tiger stripe, which I just mentioned. Stonewash as well, and the lesser seen Damascus. A big fan of Damascus. Most knife buffs are a fan of Damascus. It's just really cool. The metal on that is like you could stare at it for days, weeks, months, years, and still be amazed by Damascus. Love it. Handles. The last part about this in general is handles slash frames. You have lots of different colors. I would say styles, but they're all the same style. All have the Track Tech grip, except for one that I know of. But the other ones that you'll see out there, obviously I have the black and the OD all drab, but they also come in camo, blue, purple, brown, red. I love the red, very sharp. Another one I wish I had. Eventually, when I extend my collection, I'll probably do another one of these to show off the different colors. But it's gonna be a while. These knives range from $50 to $150, almost $200. I consider it a mid-range price, but well worth the dollar amount. The other color I didn't mention was Desert Sand, which is a slight light tan, which is really cool. There's another one that's they call it a navy blue with silver inserts, and those silver inserts look like diamond plating. Really cool. That is about all I have to say about the Kershaw Blur. Definitely one of my favorites. I use the heck out of this knife, and surprisingly, you'll notice that the finish still remains. It really is hard to believe that the finish is still there, considering what I put these blades through. But again, as you can see, very still good looking. Not to say not new looking, but fairly new. So other than that, I highly encourage you to check out Kershaw's if you've not seen them before. If you've not held the Kershaw, used Kershaw, it's a great knife. Blur, by far my favorite EDC pocket. That's all I've got for this session, and I want to say thank you for spending time checking out my videos. I'll have another one posted shortly. Thank you.